Hello and good morning, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, November 20th, 2019, and we have a big one for you. Antonio Brown apologized to a billionaire. Sorry, dude. You signed me when nobody else would. A lot of bad things happen. Then I tweeted some things. I apologize, man. I see your offense is struggling. Why don't you let me back? We'll talk about that. College Football Playoff Committee released their rankings last night. Kind of similar to mine. One big difference. We'll talk about that. We'll react to all of that. Minnesota, our team, the Gophers, who rode the boat into Iowa, Kinnick at night and got beat, still control their own destiny, which is a beautiful thing. So do many other teams. I think the College Football Playoff Committee got it right, by the way. I mean, they take a lot of heat from a lot of people that talk into microphones in the back of box trucks, but I think they got it right. Also, we got 4 primetime games this weekend for the NFL. Thursday night football, Sunday afternoon football, Sunday night football, and Monday night football. It is the 4th time in the Super Bowl era where all 4 of those games have 2 winning teams taking on each other. We'll talk around the box truck of which game we're looking forward to most and who's going to surprise us the most. NFL ratings are up. NBA ratings are down. This show, no clue how it has any ratings, but we're going to have a good one here in Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia.
Spending all my time in.
That's just not.
Evan Foxy, please play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. I appreciate you for that. It is Wednesday, November 20th, 2019. We are in Atlanta, Georgia, in the back of a box truck. Joining us at Tone Diggs is on the couch. Diggs, how you feeling?
Feel great.
Do you?
Yeah.
We got Joe Thomas coming in the second hour. I believe Cliff Averill here in the first hour. Going to talk a lot of foosball, obviously, today. Also going to dive deep in the ratings game about how in 2019 it has to be pretty difficult to track ratings because people are digesting content at such a different rate. So the NFL ratings being up, definitely good, obviously. NBA ratings being down, definitely bad, obviously. But I think a lot more people are watching NBA stuff than what the ratings are giving them credit for. Due to social media and stuff like that, we'll dive into it. At Viva Lazito's here. Do we have any good fun facts for the day later on the show?
Yes, we do.
Where'd you find these facts at?
Actually in a Snapple bag. A bag that I keep Snapple caps in.
Off to a hot start there. At Evan Foxy, how are you doing, pal?
Fantastic, Pat. Last time we were in Atlanta, I got to meet Matthew Stafford, so I will never forget this place.
We were down here for a wedding. It was our first Jewish wedding I've ever been to. We did La Benihana, La Benihana, La Benihana. That's it. That was the last time we were down here.
Great time.
This city loves the cocaine.
Loves the snow.
Foxy and I went out after that wedding to 1 or 2 clubs that were right around the area, bars, and we were offered cocaine no less than 45 times by different groups of very nice people.
Yeah.
Pat, oh my God, I love you. Whip out a sandwich bag from their pocket. You want some of the snow, man?
It was like a normal thing here.
Very normal. There's security guards and cops around. Nobody gave a single damn. Hey, Pat, you want this Coke? Like, I had no idea people still did that. Down here, it is alive and well. This place has energy. At Ty Schmidt, how you feeling, bub?
Pretty good. If there's anyone in Atlanta that knows a good barber, let me know.
What happened?
Please. I got a haircut yesterday, and it looks terrible.
You have a tiny little head, too, so
I do.
Whenever anything looks bad, it kind of gets, like, magnified on that head of yours.
Show it off.
No, I will not take the hat off. I'll tell you what, it's one of those things where my hair, I got a lot of colics. It's kind of tough to cut. You can't just cut it like everyone else's, and it's showing today.
I've been there.
You used to have hair. We did a Cheez-It shoot yesterday, and Zito ended up being a star of one of the shots. They wouldn't let him wear a For the Brand hat. So his thinning hair is going to be all over these Cheez-It commercials.
It was not good.
They put him in like a medium shirt, too. It was a bad look. I was trying to look out for Zito, too. I was like, can we have him go shirtless? Can we have them be shirtless? That would be better than what they had them in. And they're like, no. I was like, can I say the word damn it? They're like, no. And I was like, can we at least let the guy wear the hat like backwards? They're like, no. I'm like, well, this is no
They
fun.
wouldn't even give me hair and makeup. I was so mad.
Zito asked at one point, should I be lobbed up for this particular role that I have? Or he's just walking through a camera shot. A lot of fun. Thanks. Cheez It Bowl, December 27th. The biggest, best bowl of all time. The boat ever. December 27th in Arizona. I guess I'll be there. I think I'll be there. Sitting atop a 2-story. I think it's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be a good time.
I think so.
I don't know how much I'm going to talk about. Probably just did too much.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to talk about it, but hey, here we are.
Well, fire me. Put me through a 5-hour workout yesterday. It was a lot of fun, but I learned a lot about me. I am not in great shape. But with that being said, this is the last time this fall we're going to be coming to you live from the box truck.
Oh, come
We
on.
made it.
Did it. Wow.
We made it.
We did it.
For those that have listened since the beginning of this season, when we started, these box truck episodes have been quite a task. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. You got another truck that's powering this truck. Then you got people flying in from Vegas and Carolina and all these places to fix the tech. I can't thank everybody enough for making this all happen. Old Tim McAfee, Mark Snare taking care of the truck. I mean, it's been a hell of a ride, but I am pretty excited to not have to do it that much longer. Next week, we're in Mississippi, Starkville for the Egg Bowl, but we will not be doing it out of the back of a box truck due to Thanksgiving and people wanting to spend time with their families, obviously. So I think I'll be doing the show live from a hotel room,
Oh, let's go.
Wow.
which should be a pretty good time on your Thanksgiving Thursday.
When you had this box truck vision, I think a lot of people thought it was a terrible idea, but
Yep.
I think it all ended up working out.
First couple weeks felt like a terrible idea, but now here we are
I
working.
think we all thought it was a great idea. I'm just not sure we thought it would ever work.
And it didn't there for a while, but here we are.
Guess what? Never missed a show.
No.
Hey!
Hey!
By the way, we have not finished this trip, so let's get through
That's
it.
a good point.
Last night, the College Football Playoff Committee put out their rankings for the third week, fourth week, whatever it is, you get it. And I gave them my rankings yesterday during the day so that the 13 people that are in there doing the rankings could utilize my brain for their help. The NFL has already done this. The NFL just came out basically with the NFLPA and said next year, 17-game season, book it. 2 buys, shorter preseason, games in Canada and all over, which is awesome. If you listen to this show, though, or to my podcast, we called this 9 months ago.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy they put that plan in place because it's going to make the NFL better. One more game. Yes, players are going to have to stumble to the finish line. It's hard to finish the season with how injured you are. Add another bye week. Hopefully guys can get healthier. Hopefully it'll be able to help teams in the long run. More money. I mean, it's just better for the league. More football is good for us as talking heads too. So go ahead and add 2 more weeks onto the schedule. We'll get a chance to chit-chat about the greatest game on earth for a little bit longer and talk about how the ratings are still going up. Let's assume that happens for next year. Now, for college football, I gave them my ratings yesterday. I said, let's have Ohio State at number 1. The Buckeyes, who are hosting College Game Day this weekend that we will be at, who we are giving away 8 Primo tickets or a suite if it's available for the Big Ten Championship game at Lucas Oil Stadium, and $1,000 spending cash for the boys.
OH.
I owe
Let's
you
go.
a suite if you have the best poster at College Game Day on ESPN this Saturday. If it makes the air, it has to have hashtag for the brand on it to know that you're entered into the contest. The boys will be watching at home and judging. They will then relay the message to Zito or Foxy, who will go find the person that won, get the information, make sure you're all taken care of.
Bingo.
$1,000 cash, suite at the Big Ten Championship in Indianapolis, and a chance to make a lot of people laugh on the internet and on television. Have a good sign, have a great sign. Just use hashtag for the brand on your sign so we know that's for us. Now, I had Ohio State at number 1 yesterday. I had LSU at number 2, strictly because LSU gave up 614 yards to Ole Miss. 614 yards they gave up to a team that has won 3 or 4 games.
Right.
That's a lot of yards. So if your defense can give up that many yards, now granted, could have a bad week, could have had an off week, but we're supposed to rank these how we see them. I don't think Ohio State's defense is going to give up 614 yards against an Ole Miss or somebody else like that. I think Justin Fields is just as good as Burrow, although I believe Burrow is the Heisman winner because of what he's been able to do with LSU. I think Chase Young coming back is a different animal. I think Ohio State should have been number 1. The College Football Playoff Committee had LSU at number 1.
Correct.
They had Ohio State at number 2. And then the 3 and 4, we had the same, Clemson at 3, Georgia at 4. Now, after I started thinking about this, Clemson should be at 3. Anyways, They're the reigning, defending, undisputed national champion of college football. Did they look impressive to start this whole thing out? No. They had a close game against North Carolina. Mac Brown's back, got the boys going hard. Sam Howell, quarterback down there, very talented freshman. I think North Carolina is going to be good for the long haul, but Clemson having a close battle with them, it comes down to a 2-point play, basically, is what everybody remembers about this Clemson season. Even if they win by 90, people are going to be like, yeah, but early they were close with North Carolina. So Clemson's going to be in the Final Four. You just don't know where it's going to be. Have to be. Have to be in there. UGA at 4. I got a lot of people criticizing me for UGA at 4, and I assume the College Football Playoff Committee is getting a lot of people criticizing them for them at 4. They lost to South Carolina. Now, granted, that was weeks ago, and their team has gotten hotter and better and all that stuff. They lost to South Carolina. That's their one loss. Alabama, who's at number 5 now in the College Football Playoff Committee's rankings, is their only losses against the number 1 team the College Football Playoff Committee has, LSU. So you could see how people would be like, hey, UGA loses to South Carolina. Alabama loses to LSU. You got UGA above Alabama. A lot of confusing things there with this committee. Now, everybody says Alabama is just sitting out there waiting. They're a placeholder at 5. They can still control their own destiny. But whenever you look at that, it's hard if you're an Alabama fan not to be like, Georgia loses to South Carolina. We ain't never losing to South Carolina. We lost the number 1 team in the country according to your rankings, and you got us below Georgia. I don't think it really matters. I don't think it really matters right now. It's great fodder for conversation, but Alabama still controls their destiny, I believe.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, at number 6, you got Oregon, and then 7, Utah. Those two are going to collide, and that's going to cause a little bit of a shakeup. Will they jump into the top 4? I'm not sure. A lot of things have to happen. At number 8, you got Penn State, who's playing Ohio State this weekend. If Penn State, who's number 8, beats number 2 Ohio State in the college football playoff, what do they do now? Just bump out the Big Ten completely, and then it's everybody else in there? Or does Penn State automatically jump up a few because they've technically beaten, in my eyes, the number 1 team in the country, in their eyes, the number 2 team in the country? Pandemonium could potentially happen here. And then let's not even add on number 9, Oklahoma. They got to win the Big 12, but if they win the Big 12, are they in? Probably not.
No, I think they're screwed.
Because they lost to Kansas State, so that'll be recalled. Big win against Baylor, even though they were down on the ropes. Jalen Hurts bounces back after like 3 picks or something like that. Good football team. They got no shot to make it in the Final Four, though. And then number 10, Minnesota, who still controls their destiny and can make their way in the top 4. Minnesota has Wisconsin. Winner will probably go to the Big Ten championship. First, the winner of Penn State, Ohio State, with a chance of University of Michigan slipping in there. But if Minnesota wins out, goes to the Big Ten championship, beats Ohio State or Penn State, they slip into the top 4. What happens to Alabama or Georgia then at that point? Nobody knows.
It's all like if Georgia beats LSU, what happens to LSU? If Penn State or if Ohio State loses in the Big Ten championship and they only have 1 loss, what happens to them? Because those teams are going to be 1 and 2 right now, and then they have 1 loss. Is their 1 loss going to be better than Alabama's 1 loss or Georgia's 1 loss?
Yeah. What if you're number 1 or number 2? You go into championship weekend and you lose there.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're putting a team in the playoffs that just came off a loss, which is a very interesting optically thing, but I just don't know how you would be able to do it. That's why, and this year we've dug deeper into college football than I have ever in the past. That's why I think college football is kind of cool. Every game counts until you lose 1. And then once you lose 1, you're just praying that everybody else loses 1. And if no other team loses 1, now you got to have quality losses on your schedule that you could potentially make it in there. I think that's going to be pandemonium coming down the stretch where this college football playoff committee has no chance of getting it right. That's why it has to be the 5 conference champions with 3 at-large bids. Let them figure out who the 3 at-large bids are. Let the conferences figure out who the champions are. Put them in there, 3 at-large. Now we got an 8-team playoff. More football, just like the NFL. More everything. It's better. It's time to make a change.
It's beautiful. That would be a beautiful thing. And I think they put Alabama at 5 because Alabama now will not play in the SEC championship because LSU will play from the West and Georgia's probably going to play from the East. So if Alabama just beats Auburn, they have no other losses, then how do you drop them out of 4 with no other losses?
When their only losses to LSU. That's the big
I think it
problem.
gives them some wiggle room if they put them at 5.
And then Oregon's at 6 over Utah, and the head of the College Football Playoff Committee is the Oregon athletic director or Oregon president?
Athletic director.
And they say anytime Oregon comes up in conversation, he leaves the room. Well, why is the head of a committee leaving the room for any conversation? I understand that you got your hand in a cookie jar there, but there's a reason you're the head of the committee. You're supposed to be able to separate yourself from that type of thing. Automatically, they know that he could be biased, which means everybody else in the room could be biased, which really makes me question the whole damn process.
Well, and it reinforces what they think about the SEC, because Oregon's only loss was to Auburn, who
Week 1.
Yeah, exactly. Week 1, who they're good, but they're not great. They're not in the top 12, but that is a good enough loss in the committee's eyes that if they win the Pac-12, there's a good chance they're going to get in.
And Oregon led that entire game, and then Auburn had that incredible comeback. Is Week 1 is a Week 1 loss less than a Week 12 loss?
I would assume it is less than, because that's like Georgia, right? Georgia lost to South Carolina a month and a half ago or whatever. They've gotten better and hotter. Now, granted, they were very close with Kentucky. I don't know if that gets factored in there. But, yeah, and what should be remembered here is this committee is not affiliated with ESPN or with Fox or with anybody or NBC. They're their own independent committee, and I think sometimes that kind of leaks into the people that cover the sport. They automatically assume that like old Herb Street's pulling the strings over there, or maybe old Urban Meyer's pulling the strings over there. If any of those guys were, you would see, I would assume, a different setup because they just want good games because they're television people. But for us, for me, I think where they got it wrong, Ohio State should be the number 1 team. That's just what I think. But does it matter they're number 2 and LSU's number 1? Not really. I mean, at some point you're going to have to beat everybody to get in.
Yeah, but I would rather not play Clemson my first game of the college football playoff.
I agree.
Who played Clemson last year in the first one?
Notre Dame.
And what was the score?
A lot to a little.
Yeah, they got molly-whopped.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
Nobody even remembers that Notre Dame was in that playoffs because of how bad it was. And I think Notre Dame's even trying to be like, yeah, we weren't even in.
I think Ohio State probably jumps to 1 if they win against Penn State, against Michigan, against Minnesota. Those are 3 great wins.
Or Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I think Minnesota's going to start rowing the boat again. I mean, they had that one in Iowa, and they gave it away.
Sometimes you need that to, row the boat in the correct direction again.
Now, granted, sometimes you got to hit an iceberg to get the boat back on track.
All
aboard! All aboard. That's a train, I think. I believe that is a train.
That's on me. I'm a little off my game today.
You are. Hey, Zito is off his game today.
I'm going to bounce back.
By the way, I thought we were getting, what was that, held hostage this morning?
We were.
I thought we got picked up at the airport, driven over here.
Do you have them?
Yes.
I am the captain now.
The guy had a phone call with whoever set this thing up, his boss or whatever, and I think he thought it was just on the phone. It was on speaker, clearly, but he held it up to his head, and he was like, I picked them up. And the other person on the other side was like, excellent. That was his actual answer.
Yeah.
Excellent. He said, I will deliver them now, was his words, and he said, excellent. And then hang up, and we're all sitting in there with no music on, like, hey, we can hear you.
Only bad guys use the word excellent. Like that.
And the guy on the other side of the phone only said the same word 2 times. That was the entire excellent. I have picked them up. Excellent. I will drop them off. Excellent. Hang up. I let him know, though, talking amongst the boys, that he could be in earshot. I said, hey, I just want to let you guys know, I'm going down swinging. Somebody's going to catch a 4 to 5 piece if that's happening. Foxy goes right on cue. I'm going down sprinting.
Rule number 1, got to be faster than the slowest person in the group.
See you, Zeke.
I got quick feet, but never mind.
Who do you think? Hey, who is the slowest person in this group?
Tony, probably.
Wow.
Diggs was a D1 athlete.
I was a D2 athlete.
Double A.
And it definitely is not me, so.
It's easy. I mean, we've raced outside the office before.
See, the good thing about you, though, is if
Are
you're
we racing right after this?
if you're the slowest person, though, Zeke, and they hold you hostage, like, they're just going to give you up at some point.
I'm going to take them hostage.
I respect it. Hiring the right person takes time that you often don't have. Urgency can be your enemy when it comes to finding candidates that are truly meant for your business. That's why LinkedIn is the best place to post your job. LinkedIn Job screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person fast. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job post in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people you want to hire. People with the skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn. Wow. And why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires. Find the right person today for your business with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions obviously apply. We polled the people. What primetime game of the NFL weekend are you looking forward to most? This is the 4th time in the Super Bowl era where all 4 primetime games have winning teams playing each other. Right now, we have 32 minutes into this poll, 3,300 votes. Packers-Niners have 41%. We'll talk about that on the other side, what games we're looking forward to most. This is a massive NFL weekend. Massive. I'm pumped up for it. You should be too. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. We're live in Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia. That was a hard out on that song, by the way.
That was on me.
Diggs, why'd that happen?
I'm rusty.
Okay, tis almost holiday season. Tis almost Christmas movie season. And in the car this morning on the way over here, Zito said something I found a bit egregious, but I'm willing to hear the other side of it. Zito, it's almost Christmas movie season, which is my favorite time of year, by the way.
Yes.
I will give my top 3 movies. Zito, I would like to hear your top 3 and explanations of why, because in the car this morning, while we thought we were being held hostage, you said something that made me almost break my neck when I looked at you. Zito, please, your top 3 Christmas movies.
Yes, sir. So top 3, I have Elf, Home Alone, Jingle All the Way, honorable mention, Jumanji.
Elf,
Yes.
Home Alone,
Yes. All iconic movies.
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mr. Sinbad.
You're putting Jingle All the Way up there above. Let me tell you my top 3 that you put Jingle All the Way above. Okay? Yep. Let me tell you my top 3. You put it above Santa Claus, which is my number 1.
I knew you were going to pick that.
Santa Claus is my number 1. Tim Allen, ho ho, Gijo. Charlie is a little stubborn kid, I agree, but I'm down with the Santa Claus. It's my movie. Okay? Number 2, Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Oh, nice.
You put Jingle All the Way above Jim Carrey's Grinch.
I want the doll.
What?
That was a quote from the movie Jingle All the Way.
You put that above the Grinch. And number 3, Home Alone. We can agree with on
Home
that.
Alone's good, yeah.
McAllister family, worst parents in the history of parenting.
Yep.
I mean, those rich, snotty, snooty bums of parents left their kids home numerous times in a row.
Kevin!
Home Alone or Home Alone 2?
I know Ty and I are agreeing here. I think 2's better.
I love them
2
together.
is my favorite.
Is 2 New York?
Yeah.
I like New York a lot. I like the New York one a lot. But, I mean, the OG, the original, when he's, we must protect this house, I am a big fan of. The shovel guy, that whole thing.
Yep.
But just so we are understanding, you put Jingle All the Way above the Grinch?
I grew up as a Jingle All the Way. I took the Grinch off and Santa Claus just because I knew you guys would put on your list. I didn't want to steal it.
That's not how it goes. And this is why we're potentially being held hostage by a car committee. You said this, and I just completely stopped what I was doing. And I was like, if we're going down, I want to let everybody know that Jingle All the Way is no way.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
In no way better than The Grinch. No way better than The Santa Claus, the OG #1 movie of all time. And I guess Home Alone, it's good that you had that up there.
Thank you. That means a lot. But let's keep in mind that I might have stopped the kidnappers because they were like, whoa, I don't want to kidnap these guys because they think Jingle All the Way is a top 3 Christmas movie.
Did you ever see Elmo's or Furbos? Fuzzies?
Oh, that movie stinks.
I don't know that movie.
Gremlins. There it is.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, it's good.
By the way, people love Elf.
Yeah.
Love
I think
Elf.
Elf's
I hate that
incredibly
big nose.
overrated.
Oh, come on, guys.
I don't like the Elf that much either.
That's my number 1.
I like Elf. I like Elf. If it's on and I'm in the mood and, you know, the Christmas lights are up over there and maybe there's a little bit of this going on and maybe there's some vitamins cooking and I'm laying down and the remote is not within arm's reach, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Okay? Hey, buddy. I know that guy, that whole thing. I get it. I respect it. I like the story.
Hey,
But
buddy.
in 0.000% chance I'm picking that over The Grinch or Santa Claus or Home Alone. No way.
Elf's so far down the list, I've never even seen it.
Oh,
Wow.
Tony.
so you can't.
So you're
really-
out of the convo.
Well, no, I mean, no one's ever been like, hey, go to see Elf.
Yeah,
Everybody says that. That's the problem that I have with it.
And I think a
Christmas
big
Story
issue with
stinks,
Elf.
too.
Whoa!
Oh, hey,
you
hey,
shut your
hey,
mouth.
hey.
Listen, the McAfee family didn't have a lot of traditions. I mean, we did not have a lot of traditions. I couldn't tell you one tradition that we had. But Christmas Eve at my grandpa's house down there in Forest Hills, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the only thing that was standard was one person was probably going to end up in jail at some point in the next calendar year. And the other thing, Christmas Story was on the television. Now, granted, I was brainwashed into watching that movie. Now I learned that. But I don't think it's that good of a movie. But it is a Christmas icon, The Christmas Story.
Can I add something else too?
No, you are not allowed to give your opinion.
We're
on it.
denying a person that the Big Show is in this movie.
Where?
Not a big deal. What other Christmas movie can you
Well,
tell me?
it's a big show.
By the way, for people that are listening, he meant Jingle All the Way. Like
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking
I'm a
about
visual
7 other
guy.
movies. All right, let's get back to the primetime games. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that Zito thinks Jingle All the Way is above The Grinch with Jim Carrey and The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. By the way, the Santa Claus series, everyone except for the last one, I would put head and shoulders above Jingle All the Way. I like Jingle All the Way.
Great movie.
I think
Underrated.
The kid was a little spoiled prick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was.
Take it easy on your working dad, okay? Just because the neighbor's a deadbeat and trying to fornicate your mom, like, get out of here, dude. The dad, Arnold Schwarzenegger's just trying to make the best living he possibly can for his family. Sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice some time at home. Don't let the deadbeat neighbor come in and start putting his penis and things. I don't like that movie now. I hate it, actually. It's a bad message. Let the kid work. Let the guy work.
That's the best part about those old movies. So many bad messages.
Yeah, it's bad. Oh, he's working hard, so he's a bad guy?
He could have made the karate lessons. I think.
Oh, my God. Hey, heads up, kid. In about 20 years, that karate black belt you have ain't going to be worth a damn. There's going to be people that are doing jujitsu that as soon as you come up there to chop that piece of wood, they're going to chop your arm in half quicker than you could imagine. I hate that kid. I hate the wife, too. I don't like the wife. She was sending mixed signals to the neighbor.
I agree.
Hardworking guy. He's in incredible shape, too. So he works hard. He works out hard.
Keeps his body tight for his wife.
You're welcome, lady. The neighbor, though, he's a good actor, right?
Very good actor.
He's dead now, right?
Oh,
Can't even
no.
think of
Rest
who it
in
is.
peace to him.
Yes, Jingle All the Way stinks.
He's,
so.
What?
Who was it? Who's the?
I don't know.
it's a very important guy. Like, whenever the name is said, it's like a big-time name. Rest in peace to him. But he's in nowhere near as shape that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in that movie.
No way, yeah.
He's trying to hit on his neighbor. Trying to swindle his way in. Why? Because you're at home more? Way to go, you accountant.
Sickening.
Oh, Phil Hartman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Phil Hartman.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I knew he was an important guy.
We
but-
lost him in 98.
Moment of silence, please, for Phil Hartman. I hate his character in Jingle All the Way.
Oh!
I don't like his character in Jingle All the Way. What do you want from me?
No, that's true.
I like him in real life. Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Rest in peace.
We didn't have a moment of silence for his character in Jingle All the Way.
No.
We had a moment of silence for the character in real life.
Yeah.
SNL, yeah.
Yeah. 4 primetime games this weekend with teams that have winning records squaring off against each other. This is a big-time weekend. Only the 4th time in the Super Bowl era. So what is it, Super Bowl 50?
Something.
You get it. It's been over 50 years. It's only happened 4 times. Now, the 4 o'clock game, 4:25 game, is not considered a primetime game. So everybody's saying it's only 3 with the Colts, Texans, Ravens, Rams, and the Niners, Packers game. But Cowboys, Patriots is at 4:25. It's the only game on television. That is what I like to call prime time, my friends, especially when at 4:25 on a Sunday, just about everybody's at home in front of a television.
If Buck and Aikman are calling it, it might as well be prime time.
Might as well be.
By the way, I like Buck and Aikman a lot.
So do I.
I think they get buried sometimes, but anytime you're on television talking, you're going to get buried.
Oh, he doesn't like my team.
He's biased against. He loves the Cowboys. Well, the Cowboys gave him millions and millions of dollars. He's probably a little bit biased, but what do you want from the guy? I think they do a good job calling a game.
Yeah, so do I.
Troy Aikman also has texted me a few times, so friend of the show.
Oh.
Close friend.
Joe Buck, also friend
Also
of the show.
friend of the show, yeah.
Mr. Buck.
Interesting.
Anyways, I polled the people. We are 4,000 votes into this thing, 37 minutes in. With a 9% vote, the Ravens at the Rams. With a 23% vote, Colts at Texans. With a 26% vote, Cowboys at Patriots. And with 42%, Packers at Niners. Ty, I know that's the one you're looking forward to most because you're an owner of one of the teams. What should people be looking forward to for the Packers-Niners on Sunday Night Football?
Well, the Packers, this is basically like the measuring stick game. Whether or not you agree with it, the Niners are the class in the NFC right now, and they have to go to San Francisco. That defense is very, very good, and they get after the quarterback. Typically this year, the 2 games the Packers have lost, Rodgers has been under pressure. The offense hasn't been able to get going. They've suffocated the run game. So it'll be very interesting to see what the Packers do, because if they can put together a solid game plan and actually be effective against that Niners defense, I think that gives you a lot more confidence going in for the rest of the season, thinking that they can beat anyone. And then on the flip side, the Niners, same deal. They haven't really played anyone yet, per se, and the game they did,
They lost.
Yeah, exactly. And then, again, they're coming off last week where they really didn't play well. Arizona gave them all they could handle. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to like a close game that kind of ended in a fluky victory for them. I don't know. I mean, that's the class of the NFC right now, so we'll see.
I talked to a player that played against the Niners defense, a friend of mine, good friend of mine, and he said the way that they dominate other teams is on third down. They have a scheme that sets up every offensive lineman to be in a one-on-one situation with somebody, whether it's a linebacker that's been brought down to shade on the left guard or the right guard, depending on where their D linemen are. So if your offensive lineman can handle one-on-one pass blocking, then you're okay in third downs. If not, going to be a long day. And as soon as they find the one weakness, that's where they put the Bosa at and just let him go to work. So if your offensive line can handle one-on-ones, third downs can be good for you. And if not, third downs can be catastrophic for you. Excited to see what the Packers and LaFleur do with that offense against that Niners defense.
Yeah, it'll be very important that they get Aaron Jones going early, because if they get to the point where Rodgers basically has to throw it on all 3 downs, I think they're going to get their asses kicked.
Diggs, what game are you looking forward to most?
Cowboys at Patriots.
How come?
I mean, you got America's old team versus some say America's new team.
Yeah, but I think the reason why the Cowboys were called America's team is because everybody liked them there for a while. I would assume they liked them because just like a pop song, they were put on national television.
Yeah.
So you kind of, at beginning you hate them, then you like them, then you like them. Like the Kardashians have done, and they're what's happening with me right now. I mean, I am being forced on everybody at every time, and I think there's a lot of hate early, but they've come around a little bit. That's kind of what happened with the Cowboys. I don't know if there's anybody outside of New England that likes New England.
No, I think these new millennial kids who just pick winners and follow them probably love the Patriots. So
Foxy, how do you feel?
Whoa! I'm
I
a
mean,
Lions fan. He can't put me in
Well,
there.
no, he did pick them to win the Super Bowl.
True.
Well,
Go
there's
on,
because you
there's
love
money
them
on
so
the
much.
line.
Who do you got? What do you think?
But also, I think so we know that the Patriots defense is good.
Yeah.
I think we know that the Cowboys offense is good. So I'm looking forward to see if the Patriots offense or the Dallas defense steps up. I assume it's going to be the Patriots offense because it's the best coach of all time versus probably the worst coach of all time.
Jeez.
But I mean,
Jason Garrett just taking
it's going to be
headshots.
exciting to see.
I'm pumped up for Tom Brady and the boys to figure it out on the offensive side, which I think is going to happen. Tom looked miserable, depressed, sad, and then he posted a photo on his Instagram where he looked like a model, and it was a candid shot. And I almost commented on it. It felt like it's the Blue Checkmark Brigade's job to comment under Tom Brady's post, so I almost got involved in the action. I couldn't fathom just walking out of the house looking like that just on a standard day, which he does on an everyday basis. And seeing that man that has accomplished everything in the sport, everything in life, and is incredibly attractive, be completely depressed after knowing that his offense has not been able to show up, at some point that guy who has done all these things his entire life is going to get it going. And when that happens, good luck, good night. The Cowboys defense struggled against the Lions. Let's assume that Josh McDaniels and that big brain is going to do something that Jeff Driscoll is doing against the Cowboys.
Tom looked incredibly antsy against the Eagles, but they get Isaiah Wynn back at tackle, which is going to be huge for them. So I assume he's going to the offense automatically gets better with that getting.
Foxy, what game are you looking forward to?
Ravens at the Rams, strictly because Lamar Jackson is must-see TV. The Rams only put up 17 points up against the Bears and 12 points up against the Steelers. This game could be a blowout, but we got to watch. Yeah, I know, but we got to watch Lamar Jackson every time he's on TV. On TV. And also, can't wait to hear how Booger talks about the defensive line trying to stop Lamar Jackson. It's going to be great Monday Night Football.
I think Booger knows his defense a bit. I think that's something he could kind of understand. Every once in a while, he'll say something that goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I'll tell you what, on these Thursday night games, something will come out of my mouth, and as soon as it leaves my mouth, like it'll be a quiet moment in the booth, in my head, I'm like, that was the dumbest thing you've ever said. I'll tell you what, when they're running the ball, you got to really hold on to that thing. Well, no crap. Stuff. I assume Booger and Tess will not be the Monday Night Football team. This is not me knowing anything about it, but I assume with the results that have come from the internet, they might make a change, or Booger will continue to get better. I think he's gotten better, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I obviously cannot wait for tomorrow night as the Colts of Indianapolis travel down to H-Town, Texas to take on the Texans. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. Every single time the Colts and Texans play, everybody knows that the AFC South is on the line. I played in a few of those Thursday night football games in Houston. It is magnetic in there. It is electrifying in there. Their fan base does not get enough credit for being a great fan base. They are. Houston Oilers leave town, go to Tennessee. Texans come back. That city, which is the 4th largest in America, they're reproducing, trying to become the 3rd largest city in America. They are ready for prime time football. And the Colts have Jacoby Brissett back. Hopefully, T.Y. Hilton's going to get back out there. Have not heard an update. That is not a news report. That is me just speculating and hoping. If not, Jordan Williams, a running back who we just found last week, is going to go off. Nahi Himes is going to go off. Ebron will hopefully catch the ball this week like he has been for a majority of his time with the Colts. Jack Doyle's going to get loose. Pascal's going to do well. And I think that defense led by Darius Leonard's going to put out. But they're taking on Deshaun Watson, the Michael Jordan of football. I think Thursday Night Football, Houston, Indy, is going to be one for the ages, and in the end, just like it normally is in this particular rivalry, Colts get the win and take the lead of the AFC South, control of it. Jacoby Brissett is going to prove once again that he's an MVP candidate. With him, they beat Patrick Mahomes. Without him, they lose to the Dolphins and the Steelers. I think Jacoby shows up on Thursday night. Sorry, Houston Texans, this is just the way it goes.
So if it means anything, injury report for T.Y. did not practice Monday or Tuesday, nor did Eric Ebron.
Did you love the Steelers over the Dolphins?
You heard it. Mason Rudolph's your quarterback. It is Wednesday, November 20th, 2019. The Steelers did not deserve that. We got to get to a break. We'll be back on the other side with Cliff Averill, a man who played in the NFL a long time, successful man. We'll chit-chat about him, about the state of the NFL, and all things that surround it. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. I have no clue why. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. A lot of traction for the top Christmas movies on the internet right now. We struck a nerve with the internet when it came to the Christmas movies. A lot of people like The Elf. That is what the internet does. The millennials love The Elf because it's a feel-good story where a guy finds his dad, figures it all out. He was out of place. He found his place. Blah, blah, blah.
I would argue people don't like it because it's on TV 1 billion times in the next 2 months.
Yeah, but it's not on TV as much as a Christmas story.
No, it's not.
A Christmas story is literally on for 24 hours straight.
As our friend Nick Morado would say, a lot of people are soft.
Whoa.
You're not saying that.
No.
It's Christmas, dude. Come on.
It's not Christmas yet. We're saying it's almost the season. By the way, Sam put up the Christmas tree, and I just don't know how I feel about it. It's already up.
Same. So did mine.
It's already up.
I just can't do it before Thanksgiving.
Can't sleep on
Me
Thanksgiving.
neither. That was my number one rule. But I don't. I'm not around enough to really make rules anymore. The man joining us next is a freak athlete, a man who played for the Lions, then the Seahawks, big-time football player, all-pro, Pro Bowler, ladies and gentlemen, Cliff Averill. Cliff!
What's going on?
Hey, you look good. I see the button down there. Where are you from? Where are you calling us from right now?
I am in London right now, man. It's cold. It's freezing. So, yeah, that's why I got a button down on.
What the hell's going on in England?
I'm out here working with Sky Sports, man, trying to go international because there's so much competition in the States. So I try to go a different route.
Smart. Very, very smart. Okay, let's lead to the... You're a very intelligent man. I mean, not just because of this decision, but because of other decisions. When it comes to the NFL and the NFC right now, who do you like? What do you see out of the Seahawks? Are they stoppable? In the NFC this weekend, you got Packers and Niners going against each other. What do you like about the NFC so far?
The NFC is stacked, man. You talk about the Packers, you talk about the Niners, the Seahawks. I mean, you go down the list, man. There's a lot of good teams playing some really good ball. I'd be interested to see how this 49ers Green Bay game goes, man, because obviously Aaron Rodgers is a beast with that defense being the 49ers, but also seeing what Jimmy G can do against, another good defense as well with what Green Bay has going on. So I'd be interested to see how that plays out, man. That's going to say a lot about the 49ers and Green Bay.
Okay, so I was told by a man who plays offensive line for a team that played against the Niners that what they do is they get you in a third down, and then they have figured out a way to get everybody ISO'd. So it's one-on-one. So it's the D-line are all shifted to one side, and then you got an end, and then you got a linebacker that comes down. Is that accurate? Is that normal for defenses to be able to do?
Well, I know the D-line coach, Chris Kasurk. He was my D-line coach in Detroit. So that's still some of the same stuff we used to do. We started doing some of that stuff in Seattle as well through those Super Bowl runs and different things like that. But, yes, it is to line guys up and get the best opportunity to get them one-on-one. You shift it, you overload to one side, then you have to slide the guard maybe, the opposite guard maybe to come down and try to help as well. And then it creates gaps and holes and different things like that. But the objective is to get one-on-one, especially for your edge guys.
Okay, so for the dummies listening at home that don't fully understand what that means, what does that mean for an offense? How do you beat that?
What it means for our offense is everybody has to be on the same page. But again, you line up, you overload, meaning you put three guys on one side of the center. So now it's 3 against 3, right? And the center has to kind of figure out things. And then usually that backside guard that's by himself, he's either got to pick, does he want to help that defensive end that's over there by himself, or let that tackle kind of guard him one-on-one, or slide down and try to help that way. So it's just all about communication more so than anything, and making sure everybody's on the same page.
And as soon as you're not on the same page, bang, big-time sack, now it's 4th and long, got to turn it over.
Exactly. It puts quarterbacks in a predicament for sure. Hopefully you get a sack, fumble, and make something happen from there.
Okay, the NFL is talking about going to a 17-game season, adding a bye week. You just cringed in your face right there. More money for everybody, more football for everybody. You hate this, or do you think this is a good answer to the 18-16 conversation that was happening between the NFL and NFLPA?
I don't know, man. I think more games doesn't necessarily mean good football. You know what I'm saying? Like, the game of football, the NFL is hard. 16 games in a season. I mean, you're lucky if you can get all your starters to play all 16 games. So adding another game, I don't know if that necessarily helps. I don't know if the quality of football will be the same. Yeah, you might add a bye week, and that might help. But does it really help? I don't know. I don't know if we'll want to see that. I think 16 games is perfect. Heck, I wouldn't be opposed to 14, and I don't even play anymore. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be opposed to that, just knowing like how beat up guys are going into week 15, 16, even having that bye week.
We're getting into that time of year right now, and health is a number one concern for whether or not you think a team is going to be good or not. The New England Patriots are healthy right now. They're getting their left tackle back, who has been a key missing component. You've seen Tom Brady, obviously, for a long time. We all have. You think that offense could be able to figure it out, or has defenses like the Eagles defense figured out how to rattle them? Is that something? Is it more the defense, or is it more the offense right now in New England, you think?
I think it's their. Honestly, I think it starts with their O line. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces. There's some injuries there as well, and you can tell even watching the game last week with Tom Brady, he doesn't look like himself because guys are getting in his face. He's getting rattled. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're the GOAT. I don't care if you're a rookie. At quarterback, none of them like being hit. None of them like being pressured. None of them like being moved off the spot. So when you see Tom Brady a little frazzled like that, it's because his O-line isn't holding up, and there's a lot of moving pieces there. But the one thing with Tom Brady that he hasn't had in the past is that doggone defense. That defense is playing really, really well, and at least he can rely on that moving forward as well.
The last two times, I guess they had in 2001, 2003, they had a 17 and 9th ranked offense, and they still won a Super Bowl. So the defense can carry them to Super Bowl championships. We only got a couple minutes left here. I'm so thankful you're joining us from London. Lamar Jackson has captivated the world. He's playing on Monday Night Football against the Rams. Do they have any chance of stopping him or containing him, or are the Ravens going to win by 40 like I think?
Oh, man, I haven't seen anybody stop him yet. I think this is not the year that anybody's going to figure out how to stop him. It's no different from any of these other quarterbacks, right? Like the cap years and different things like that. The first year out, man, it's exciting. People don't know how to break it down. People don't know how to stop it and different things like that. But the following years, when people have a whole offseason to kind of plan, then I think things will slow down a little bit. But right now, this man is playing lights out. It's extremely hard to stop. Think about the running game, right? When you're running the ball with the running back, it's usually 9 blockers, 8 blockers. Now we're talking about 10 guys are blocking for the quarterback. That makes a big difference. There's extra gaps. There's extra things that are going. So a defense is hard to see what they're going to do. But to answer your question, it's going to be hard to stop that man. He is balling out. That defense is picking up. I mean, the Ravens are probably the hottest team in the NFL right now, outside of my Seahawks.
Okay. I can respect that. I can respect that a lot. They beat the Niners, by the way. That was a massive game for the NFC
Big win.
And for the Seahawks. Cliff Averill, I don't know if you're going to pick up English accent at any point, but I hope you dominate over there. You're very good. I appreciate your time today, man.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, cheers. Stay safe. Is it expensive as hell over there?
Whoa, too expensive.
All right, man. Save your money. Go make some, too. We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen,
Have a good one.
Cliff Averill, you're the best, dude. Hey, he was really good right
Very
there.
good.
He was calling us from, what seemed to be the most lit closet in history over there in London town. He was a solid guy there. Listening to defenders that are retired talk about trying to stop Lamar Jackson is just hilarious to think about. 10 blockers for one guy running. All you need is one guy that's kind of scared to make a tackle, and bang, it's right out the gate.
Aaron Donald, if there's one person that can disrupt him, it might be him this weekend. Maybe.
But if you get 2 on Aaron Donald,
yeah.
then what are you going to do? I guess Jalen Ramsey, by the way, is not going to let them boys duck, though. Jalen Ramsey has brought an entire attitude, I guess, to that defense. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, they're talented. Wade Phillips making the calls. Let's hope they can figure it out. Nobody's been able to thus far. We got another hour on the other side. We can't thank you enough for listening or watching. You're listening to The Pat McAfee Show.
It's the perfect occasion for a mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic, let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is Chase Rice. I appreciate you. He's on tour. If he comes to your city, go check him out. At Tone Diggs is joining me here in the back of this box truck in Atlanta, Georgia on this beautiful Wednesday, November 20th, 2019. Also here at Viva La Zito. How's it going, Z?
It's going amazing. You know, not a lot of backlash from the Jing All the Way video.
That's right. In the first hour, if you're just joining us, we ranked our top 3 Christmas movies. Zito had...
Let me unfold my paper
Oh,
here.
so it wasn't real then.
Oh, God.
It wasn't real then. I
Elf?
don't. Nope. I don't want to hear it.
Home Alone, Jing All the Way, honorable mention, Jumanji.
Yeah, but it's not your real feelings. You wrote that down. That was just a gimmick. I just learned a lot about you right
No,
there.
no, I just,
Yeah, you did. I just learned a lot about you. At Evan Foxy's here. How you doing, Foxy?
Fantastic, Pat. Elf is the best Christmas movie out there.
Yeah, that's a lie. At Ty Schmidt, also here from Waterloo, Iowa. How you doing, Ty?
Doing great. Doing great.
Have you ever been more embarrassed to be standing next to somebody like Evan Foxy whenever he says things like that?
Yeah, I mean, Elf stinks, but that's their generation, you know?
Whoa!
It's not even a real person. It's a puppet.
What?
Why don't you guys like Elf?
That's
actually?
the Nutcracker.
Have a heart.
I think I like Elf. I just don't like how much other people like it over things like my top 3. There's Santa Claus with Tim Allen,
Great.
Oh, so good.
Jim Carrey in The
Great.
Grinch,
Oh.
Home Alone number 3.
Great.
I also-
What? Well, I thought you said Home Alone 3 for a second.
No. Home Alone's my number 3.
Pretty good one. I also don't like being made feel like I feel like I'm a moron when I say I don't like Elf. People are like, "Oh, you suck. That's the best movie." I mean, the movie stinks. You know, like get off my back.
You're not giving me any reason why it stinks, though. None of you guys have.
I mean, I just
I
said
didn't
it's
say
because
it
it's not-
stinks.
It's
a
not that
puppet.
good.
Bet you like that
Anyways,
skeleton Christmas movie.
Welcome
too.
back, Wednesday.
No.
What's that one?
Oh, that's a good
Nightmare
one.
Before
Nightmare.
Christmas.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I've gotten
one.
some tweets stating that we didn't go to bat for Bad Santa at all, so we should chat about that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny.
It's up
That's-
there.
not
I mean,
bad
Billy
movie.
Bob's great.
Billy
There's
Bob's
a lot
the
of
man.
classics
Red
out
Claw's
there.
also good.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies out there. That's why we're excited for the season almost being here.
Right.
We're 1 week away from Christmas movie season. We're 1 week away from the holiday season, and that's what got us this conversation. Zito said something completely egregious about Jingle All the Way being better than the Grinch, the
So
Santa
you
Claus.
agree with me?
What?
You egregious?
Are
with
you
me.
in the same truck?
No, egregious.
Oh, never mind.
Yesterday, the college football playoff ratings came out. We have a little bit of a disagreement with them. I believe Ohio State's the number 1 team in the country strictly because LSU gave up 614 yards to Ole Miss. They have LSU at 1, OSU at 2, Clemson at 3, Georgia at 4, Alabama at 5, Oregon 6, Utah 7, Penn State 8, Oklahoma, and Minnesota. Everybody on that list controls their own destiny except for Oklahoma, we believe. Not sure if Oregon or Utah will be able to get in just because the Pac-12 gets hated on by everybody. But everybody has their chance at making it into the dance. You win and you make it. That's what college football is supposed to be. Every game counts until you lose one. Then you're just praying that everybody else loses one, and that's been happening. I don't know how Georgia's above Alabama. Georgia's losses to South Carolina. Alabama's losses to LSU. But Alabama's biggest loss, Tua Tagovailoa. Who knows how they're going to play going forward. Minnesota is sitting at 10, but if they win out, they got Wisconsin. Then they have the winner of PSU or Penn State and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship with a chance of Michigan slipping in. Minnesota wins out, they go. LSU wins out, obviously they stay. Everybody has a chance to make it. That's why college football is absolute pandemonium. Ain't that right?
Absolutely.
This weekend, we got 4 primetime games with winning teams competing in them. Starting tomorrow night, the Houston Texans play host as the Indianapolis Colts AFC South rival come to town. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. The Houston Texans fans are magnetic. They are an awesome bunch. They get loud down there, and Jacoby Brissett's coming to town. Good old Jacoby is coming to ruin your day. He'll throw 3 tutters is what I like to say. No JJ, and that's okay if you're a Colts fan. Deshaun Watson is good, but they don't have enough man.
Hey.
Very well said.
Thank you. I've been preparing for that all year, obviously. That's how I feel. I think the Colts are going to get a big win, although it's going to be a very tough environment. Then this weekend, Sunday, 4:25, the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, America's team, travels to America's dynasty, the New England Patriots. And Diggs, you're excited for this one because...
Well, I think you're actually going to find out a lot about the Patriots and the Cowboys. Is the Cowboys' defense good enough? Is the Patriots' offense good enough? We'll see there.
The Cowboys' defense gave up a lot of points to Jeff Driscoll, who, no offense to Jeff Driscoll. No offense at all. I don't want him to take any offense to this. I didn't even know that guy existed before last week.
Same.
I don't think anybody did. Maybe that's why the Cowboys were caught off guard. They're like, who are we playing against? Matt Stafford's coming back. Well, he had a broken back last week. There's no way that's going to heal. We got to play against this Driscoll guy. Driscoll puts up 28 or something like that against 27 up against him.
Yep.
Let's assume Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady, and the boys are going to watch that film and see what they can get done.
Do we think the Cowboys have more talent?
Whoa.
On the offense side of the ball?
Both.
Well, I think talent is such an interesting thing because you can list them all off. You got Dak, who's playing very well. He leads the NFL in offense right now. You got Ezekiel Elliott, who just got broken off, spent his offseason in Cabo, still playing well. You got Amari Cooper, who's doing great. You got Randall Cobb, who's the first Cowboy to have back-to-back 100-yard games and a touchdown this season. You got an offensive line that's really come together down there. And on defense side of the ball, they fly around. You got Jalen Smith. Sean Lee, who was a stud for a long time as a backup to that Vander guy. Is he still in?
Yes. Van Der Esch.
And their defense is coming together. They fly around. But whenever you want to compare talent, I would like to say if you have the greatest football player of all time, that outweighs everything that you have. Having Tom Brady is just a different level. And has he looked like Tom Brady? No. Has Tom Brady had games where he looks like bad Dak this year? Yes. I think Tom Brady has missed passes. I don't think Tom Brady has been comfortable in the pocket. I don't think that offense has been moving like they wanted to. I think they're missing another weapon. That's why they brought in Antonio Brown. That's why there was a little bit of a disagreement on whether or not they should get rid of Antonio Brown or not between coach and front office, I believe, which the coach is the front office, but there's one other person in there that makes decisions. Antonio Brown even knows that they're missing him because he comes out and apologizes to Robert Kraft. He goes, hey, cuz, about everything that happened. You see, I got out of Pittsburgh, all right? I called God. I landed in Oakland. I watched Derek Carr for a little bit. I landed in a hot air balloon 45 minutes north of training camp. I got out there. My feet got burnt. The whole world was burning down. I called God again. I got out of there, and I ended up as a New England Patriot, everything I wanted to be. And then when I got there, all hell broke loose. Stories came out about me doing terrible things. Who knows if those are accurate, by the way. Haven't heard of those much since that all happened.
Right.
Antonio Brown became a firestorm of negativity. The Patriots said, we can't deal with this. Next day, Antonio Brown comes out swinging on Robert Kraft. I think Antonio Brown's a guy who probably doesn't regret or apologize for a lot of things. I would assume those tweets are something he is currently very much genuinely apologizing for. And let's also think about this. People make mistakes. Antonio Brown has made a lot of mistakes. But Antonio Brown also incredible football player. He only played one game. It was against the Dolphins. He caught the first 4 passes. Tom Brady was like, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And then bang, he's off the team. Antonio Brown's trying to make it up for him because Antonio Brown sees the same thing as everybody else, and that's the Tom Brady-led offense has been struggling. They've been sputtering, and Josh McDaniels and Tom haven't been able to figure it out yet. Let's assume, though, after a week of depression, which Tom Brady, at his mic stand, at his press conference, who was one of the most handsome dudes on earth, one of the most wealthy dudes on earth, one of the most successful dudes on earth, noted greatest football player of all time. He looked dejected, rejected, and sad. Let's assume that's going to motivate a guy. Tom versus time, Tom versus fire. Tom's going to get going this week, I think. And the Dallas Cowboys are just going to have to kind of eat it. In my eyes, that's probably going to be the outcome, but I'm not 100% sure.
So Antonio Brown had his meeting with the NFL this week. So he's just waiting on them to clear him or not.
So he had a meeting with already?
This week.
Oh, so Goodell was like, first things first?
Apologize.
You need to apologize to Mr. Kraft. And I don't think 280 characters is going to do it. You might want to take out something in that newspaper. You might want to get the Foxborough Gazette, the Boston, whatever it is, Times, whatever it is. You need to take out newspaper. You need to apologize. You need to make sure everybody knows that what you did, you regret.
And then if he gets cleared, he's going to make a difference on a playoff team.
Immediately. He's healthy, by the way. He hasn't been taking the shots. He'll be ready to go. I have no idea if the Patriots will sign him. That would be the biggest, that would be, you know how people say they forgive, but they don't forget? if that happens and they sign him, that would have to be Mr. Kraft would have to do both. He would have to just forget about it, and he would have to forgive, because Antonio went deep after Kraft. I mean, he went deep, which is why he probably is like, shouldn't have done that, dog. He apologized. Maybe it'll get him back on the
You'll
team.
find out real quickly how much Kraft cares about winning a Super Bowl if he were to sign Antonio Brown back or not.
By the way, instantly better, just like any team would be if
Yes.
they sign Antonio Brown. Instantly better, but that comes with everything, right? Just like Colin Kaepernick signing comes with everything.
Yep.
Just like Tim Tebow comes with everything. Antonio Brown comes with a lot, but boy, he brings a lot to the table.
Going back to the overall talent, isn't that the difference between like the NFL and college? Because that's where coaching and scheme comes in. Like in college, if you have more talent, most of the time that team's going to go out and win, but it's not really like that in the NFL.
Well, I think my issue with the college football playoff ranking is this paper teams? Like, is this strictly off of paper? And if that's the case, why do we even play the games?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why do you even play the game? Well, if Appalachian State had no chance against Michigan, why'd they even play the game, right? And that's why I think it's hard to subjectively rank teams, because there's a reason that any given Sunday exists. It's like, hey, if your team can show up, come together, and out-strategize the other team, no matter how much talent you have, you're going to win. Now, granted, talent helps. Having talent is an incredible – talent beats
Hard
work.
when talent doesn't work hard,
Bingo.
right? I think that is the statement. I don't know.
Other way around, maybe.
There's a cliche.
Hard work beats
It's
talent.
talent when talent doesn't work. There it is. You get it. But still, in football, it's a team sport. People have to show up. People have to show out. That's why I think subjective rankings of people is very difficult, because are you judging them on paper, or are you judging them if they were to play each other? And if they were to play each other, how are you supposed to know who's going to win? I mean, I played for a couple teams that shouldn't have lost games. I missed kicks in games I shouldn't have missed, that we lost to teams that we shouldn't have lost to. That's why football is football. That's why it's impossible to judge. But if you're judging people strictly by paper, I would say the Cowboys have a lot more talent than a lot of teams.
Yeah, and if you're going based on the college football playoff, I don't think they are judging just on paper, because LSU, Ohio State, both undefeated. Ohio State was ranked higher at the beginning of the season, so you would think that they would just have them automatically number one.
Well, Ohio State should be number one.
Yeah.
They should be number one. LSU gave up 614 yards to Ole Miss. That's neither here nor there. We'll talk about the other primetime games. Have two winning teams squaring off against each other this weekend, with a guy who is a perennial All-Pro, a man who many people say is the best at his position. Many people say this guy's addition to television has become one that everybody has loved. Joe Thomas is joining us on the other side of this break, and I cannot wait to chat with him. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. I am the guy the show's named after. I used to kick balls. Now I say dumb things into the microphone. Who's hard out on the music? Was that you, Diggs? Yep. Joining us now via phone is a man who spent his entire career for the Cleveland Browns. He was a left tackle. Some say the greatest left tackle to ever play the game. He just so happened to be trapped in a team that didn't have all the success in the world. Now you can see him on NFL Network. He's on the pre-show on Thursday Night Football, which you can find on NFL Network. He's very, very handsome. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Thomas.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me on amidst all the BS that you just spewed. The only thing that was true is that I am very handsome, so thank you for that.
Hey, you got that shaved head. You kind of look like a Hasselbeck now that you're up there on television.
I can't. Oh man, that kind of hurts me a little bit. I thought I liked you for a second there, but hey man, I'm just trying to blend in, man. I just don't want to get the haircut. You know, sometimes these media jobs they come down with the hatches pretty hard, so I'm just trying to stay under, keep my head down.
I have a question for you. Hasselbeck does get like 10 tweets every time you're on television about congratulating him on a new gig over at NFL Network, so it's the only reason why I said that. Have you enjoyed the TV gig? Have you felt like you've had to change or adapt at all, or have they kind of just let you be you and you enjoy spewing some knowledge to the folks on Thursday nights?
Well, that's what I've really enjoyed about working with the NFL Network. They've kind of just let me be me and go out and have some fun, try to, you know, insert a little bit of humor into the NFL, but also give a lineman's perspective. There's not too many linemen that get a chance to go on TV, especially with Thursday Night Football, and, you know, give the perspective from the trenches, which tends to be a little bit different than those guys that get to play with the balls all the time.
Well, I play balls all the time, and my perspective is a little bit different as well. But from the trenches, that's where the game is won. We're getting into the season where the game is won in the trenches via running the ball and stopping the run. What team in the NFL sticks out to you most? It seems like they have a game plan or a team that can make the long haul here and get to the Super Bowl.
Well, the NFC obviously is loaded, but specifically in the AFC, I actually think your Indianapolis Colts are pretty well loaded for a good run here come December. I mean, you look what they do really well. They play great, fundamentally sound defense, a lot of good zone coverages, which hold up well in bad conditions. They can run the football pretty well. They've got a dominant offensive line, the most fearsome offensive lineman in football in Quentin Nelson, and they've got a really smart coach in Frank Reich. And so with Jacoby Brissett coming back and T.Y. Hilton coming back, being able to maybe push the ball down the field a little bit more, I think they can make some noise in an AFC that really it's anybody's race right now, especially with the way the Patriots are playing on offense.
I've been saying this for a long time. Everybody calls me a homer and a dummy. I've been yelling into cameras that I can't, saying, hey, this particular Colts team is built different. This is different than the teams that I played on. They built it in a fundamental fashion. Chris Ballard has really gone to work with the offensive line and the defense. Quentin Nelson had a couple games there where it didn't seem as if he was on. I might be wrong. I don't know about that. But offensive lineman, the mentality, is there chances where you can have a bye or a bad week and then bounce back? Because it feels like the Colts offensive line has done that, especially with the keg stand celebration.
Well, you said it. I mean, I don't remember a better touchdown celebration ever in pro football. I mean, you go back all the way to the Icky Shuffle and all those cute little dances, but nobody beats lifting a 360-pound Quentin Nelson up like you're doing a college keg stand at University of Wisconsin-Madison. So, no, you're right, though. I think when you look at Quentin, why I said he's the most fearsome and dominant is because what he does in the run game, the way he tortures people, he tries to collapse your chest. He just doesn't want to block you. He wants to destroy you. And I think that's the type of football that can win in December. And everybody on the offensive line who's ever played has had bad games. You've gone through tough stretches, especially when you have great opponents that you're going against. But it's all about how you bounce back. It's all about your ability to make some corrections, come back, put your nose to the grindstone, and get a little bit better. And I think that's what they did. You saw them last week. They played some really good football. So they have an opportunity, to be playing their best football in December, which is what championship teams do.
I think the NFL wants us to move on past this, but you said he doesn't only want to beat you, he wants to basically ruin you. Speaking of a man who's trying to ruin another individual over there in Cleveland, what were your thoughts on Myles Garrett's situation? I'm assuming you've had to talk about this ad nauseum because you're one of the biggest voices in Cleveland Browns. We know Myles Garrett off the field is not normally like this, but man, when the game was over, you sealed a victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home on national television. To have that be the last taste in everybody's mouth is kind of a crazy situation for the Browns.
Yeah, there's no defense of what Miles did, and Quentin, to his credit, hasn't ripped off anybody's helmet and tried to tomahawk chop him over the head. So I feel like he's playing within the rules as of right now. But no, I thought that was totally out of character of Miles. Like you mentioned, I've known him since he was even before drafted by the Browns. He reached out to me on Twitter and struck up a conversation. And then his first year in Cleveland, I did everything I could to try to help. That was my last year in the NFL, and I just know a different person, and that's what I've tried to disseminate, going on the different radio shows and the TV shows this week to talk about the incident that I was at there on Thursday night. But all I can say is, I guess everybody has that point where they'll snap and they go out of character. They see red, like people have said, and you do things that you regret. And I think as soon as Miles did it, you saw him laying on the ground. He basically was regretting it when he was laying there, and Marquise Pouncey was going curb stomp on him. But I don't know. I think the NFL actually did a pretty good job with their discipline. I thought they were pretty good as far as what they handed down. I thought it was really fair to suspend Miles for the remainder of the season, to ding Pouncey for 3 games, and then Larry Ogunjobi from the Browns for 1 game, and then fine Mason Rudolph and a ton of other guys. So hopefully it was an ugly moment that the NFL can move on from, and fans can quickly forget, and Miles can come back next season, make amends, and be the great player that he was this year, maybe even better.
Joe, you said that they handled the suspensions correctly, but I disagree. I mean, don't you think Mason Rudolph should at least got 5 or 6 games for starting it?
This is coming from a Steelers fan, by the way.
Wow. That would be a hot take if you're a Steelers fan. Well, no, I clearly think that Mason Rudolph started it. He started a fight that he couldn't finish. He's used to being a big guy in college football. He is a big quarterback, right? He's 6'5", 225 or whatever he is. But this is a grown man's game, and he's got to understand his role, and he understands the pecking order in the NFL. Until the kicker trots his skinny little butt out there, he is the softest, weakest man on the field. Not the punter. I said the kicker. You as the quarterback, you are the softest man on the field. You do not pick fights with anybody. That's what your offensive line is for. If you're mad about Miles hitting you what you thought was late, which I didn't think it was a bad hit, and the ref agreed with me because he didn't throw the flag because Miles is tackling a guy and he doesn't know if he's throwing the football or not. But outside of that, if you have a beef, that's for your offensive lineman to take care of. That's not for you to try to go start a fight that you can't finish. So clearly Mason Rudolph is the instigator in this case. And then after your helmet gets ripped off, to try to go back after somebody was completely ill-advised, and that's why I think he got fined. But how would it look for the NFL if the man that just got beamed over the head with his own helmet gets suspended for his role as the instigator? I just think the NFL couldn't take that look. And my podcast co-host Andrew Hawkins had a great take. He said the NFL didn't suspend him, which is a worse punishment for the Steelers. You being a Steelers fan, you've seen how Mason Rudolph has played. So they're going to force him to play with Mason Rudolph next week as the ultimate punishment.
Yeah, the Tomahawk Show, by the way, incredible podcast. Download it now. You guys do a great job. Diggs said that specifically because he thought that the NFL should suspend Mason Rudolph indefinitely for his entire career. I believe he's a diehard Steelers fan. That's what he was hoping. And you said something in there, though, that I think reigns pretty true. This is a grown man's league. I don't know if you saw this or not. Dwayne Haskins was pleading with his offensive line in the middle of a game, what can I do to help you? And he was delivering it in a fashion that, I would assume like maybe some veteran quarterbacks could do. And I said, like in the NFL, it's a little bit different. Even though you're a leader and you're a quarterback, you have to handle and manage egos a little bit differently. In college, you're the big man on campus. In the NFL, you got to earn your stripes, your bottom of the totem pole again while still being a leader. I said it was a tough look for Dwayne Haskins because they basically laughed in his face, which probably means off the field, off of Sundays, he's probably not doing a lot of leadership things. Is there any way that a rookie quarterback can talk to an offensive line, or how do they have to do that to still be a leader, still motivate his group without completely offending them and making them laugh in his face?
I'm sure you've seen this a lot, Pat, but you get these All-Americans, maybe Heisman Trophy winners, first-round draft picks. They show up. They're used to being the big man on campus. They're used to being their captain, their leader, their team, which is great. We love those qualities. Yeah. But you got to understand that when you come to the NFL and you're dealing with grown men, you're dealing with 35, 40-year-old adults that have been in the NFL 10, 15, 20, 40 years if you're Tom Brady. And these guys have been around. They've seen everything. There's a different maturity level and a different level of understanding and respect that you got to have. And when you're a rookie, you got to know that you don't know everything. And by saying that, the best way you can get the respect of your teammates is show up, work as hard as you possibly can, keep your mouth shut and your eyes open because you're there to learn as much as you can. And as you prove that you know what you're doing and you can be reliable, then that's when you're going to get the respect, and that's when you can start speaking up. And your teammates are going to listen to you and they're going to follow you. But you can't be a leader if you don't know what you're doing yourself. That's the first role of being a great leader in any position is you know what you're doing and you're able to do it. Then people can follow you and then you can be vocal about it. But you can't be vocal if you don't know what you're doing and you're not doing a good job.
A lot of people came after me. They're like, well, what is Dwayne Haskins supposed to do? I'm like, well, just by looking at the way those offensive line looked at him, I would assume he's not earning their respect off the field. I would assume in the meeting room, in the training room, in the workout, everywhere, he's not doing that just yet. I hope he does, even though that entire Redskins team, I think, is about to get blown up and built around him. I think that is where you earn that respect is off the field.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Pat. You don't earn the respect just because you're named the starter because of injury or because of draft status. You have to earn that. You have to prove to your teammates that you have the ability to step into that position and you're going to do a great job, and they can count on you to get the job done because in the end, their job's dependent on it. Their family's dependent on it. This is a business for those people. This is their career. This is not a hobby, right? So they need that quarterback to be able to go in there and earn the respect and do the things that he needs to, not only on the field, but in the meeting rooms. They need to see the commitment and the dedication in that film room, on that practice field. That's where you earn it. You can't just show up and assume to be the starter, and assume to get that respect. I've had a few quarterbacks. That was Johnny Manziel's biggest problem. He thought because he was a first-round pick, he was just going to show up and be a great quarterback. No, you got to put in the time and you got to put in the work. That's how you gain the respect and become a great player.
I'll never forget. I had to hold, right? Obviously, it's my first time holding. And when you're holding in practice, you got to tell these offensive linemen who just got out of individual drills, that just got out of maybe inside drill, things like that. They're very tired. And field goal was right in the middle of practice for us. And I have to get back there and now, I give the cadence for the field goal, and I have to tell them to get down, if things are happening. So I would never forget going, Mr. Lilja, is there any way we're trying to do a field goal right now? Is there, if we can get a couple, like as a rookie, I'm like, I don't want to listen. And if I'm doing this wrong, you just let me know how. I just don't want to upset anybody. It's a tough position to be in, though, as a rookie quarterback, where you're supposed to be the leader, but you got to earn the respect first when you came off being the Mr. All-American. Basically, it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, when you're not the top man on the pecking order and you're not the top of the totem pole, you can earn it with humor. And I thought you did a great job there, right? So Dwayne Haskins, maybe in that situation, try to earn their respect and get them to do what you want with humor. Because if you're going to try to stand up there and club them over the head and make them respect you, that's not going to work. That's like the pipsqueak graduate assistant or quality control guy just coming in and screaming at Peyton Manning or one of the top dogs on the team. It doesn't work like that. You got to know where you fit on the roster, and if you're not at the top, you can't just go running around screaming at people because they'll lose all respect that they had for you.
By the way, how much respect would I have for Dwayne Haskins, by the way? He walks into that huddle and goes, boys, hey, we've stunk this year, man. Is there anything we can do a little bit different? I mean, you just let me know. It's just all about how you handle it. You got to finesse people in that particular case. Okay, starting tomorrow night on NFL Network, you'll be there for the pregame show at 6 o'clock, I believe it starts in Houston. This weekend is one of the best weekends of NFL football in the history of the Super Bowl era. Only 4 times since the Super Bowl has begun. Adam Schefter gave me this quote on a tweet. There have been 4 primetime games with winning teams playing each other. You got the Cowboys, Patriots, you got the Rams and the Ravens, you got the Niners, Packers, Houston, Texans, and Indianapolis Colts. What are you looking forward to? What can we learn this weekend, Mr. Joe Thomas?
Well, we'll probably learn nothing, just like every single weekend in the NFL, like last weekend or the weekend before, where the Falcons came out and they just started stomping on people like they woke up from the dead. But that's what I love about the NFL is we think we know where all these teams sit. We think we know who's good. We think we know who's bad. And all of a sudden, every weekend, they turn it on their head. But I tell you, the interesting thing for me is I want to see how the AFC playoff race shakes out. I think the NFC, we kind of know who the best teams are. We have a pretty good idea who are the wild cards. We know the Vikings and the Packers are probably going to come out of the NFC North. There's probably going to be a wild card in the NFC West. But the AFC really is almost wide open. You look at all these teams that are kind of in the middle, and even the Browns there at sort of towards the bottom could make a run with the easiness of the schedule that they have in the AFC that it's definitely going to be interesting, and everybody kind of wants to find out a little bit more about these Patriots. Like, how long can this defense continue to carry that team? Can Tom Brady start leading this offense and playing better football so they can score more points? Can their offensive line block for them? And then, of course, in the AFC South, the game tomorrow night, Houston. Are they going to be able to bounce back from the shellacking from the Ravens? I think they have a really good opportunity. You know, Deshaun Watson was the leader in the clubhouse in the MVP race until last weekend, and all I know, they call him Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan, what he does, if he ever had a bad game, he'd bounce back. So for your Colts, I'd watch out for Deshaun Watson to have a big game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm always scared of Deshaun Watson. Honestly, he has become something that's very special. Speaking of something special in the AFC, Lamar Jackson in that AFC North. I have no idea how you stop him. Every time I've talked to a retired player, talked to Kyle Williams yesterday, D-tackle, he said, I have no idea. Because if you're trying to hold up and kind of contain him, then he has nothing but time to throw it to one of his tight ends or to Marquise Brown. If you're trying to get pressure on him, he eludes it and he gets out of there. He has no idea how you stop him. What would it be like to block for a guy like Lamar Jackson? Is that the easiest job on earth, or do you have to still maintain some sort of technique and strategery out there?
So, being the savvy media football analyst that I am, I incorrectly called that Lamar Jackson was not going to be able to be a great NFL player because he couldn't throw the football. Where I was really wrong was I underestimated his athletic ability, because I thought he was just a great athlete in college, and you're going to get to the pros, and then everybody's a pretty good athlete. I didn't realize that he was going to be playing at a different speed than those other guys. You watch him going against some of the most athletic people in the NFL. Heck, watch him against the Patriots. Jamie Collins, one of the most athletic linebackers in the NFL. He makes those guys look like they're just running in second gear. It is incredible. The last guy I can remember to think that could play like that was like Barry Sanders, where guys were trying to break down and trying to go slow, but he was still running past them. And he's improved almost every week as a passer, which has got to be so frightening for defenses, because in the past they were saying, okay, we'll just load up on all these skinny guys, we'll put them close to the line of scrimmage, we'll take away their run game, we'll force Lamar Jackson to throw. Well, now people are forcing him to throw, and he's completing like 17 out of 19 passes, 4 touchdowns. He's got perfect passer ratings. It's just remarkable what he's doing, and really, until he loses half a step and he's a little bit more on everybody's athletic ability scale, I don't see how you stop him unless he just starts flinging interceptions. But he's proven already in only his second year that he's a really good decision maker, which I think is a surprise for a lot of people. He's not throwing perfect balls all the time like Drew Brees, but you know what? He doesn't have to, because he's so explosive with his feet that teams really can't do anything. And I think the only way you beat the Ravens is if somehow you get an early lead and just force them to play from behind. That's the only thing we've seen right now that Lamar Jackson hasn't really excelled at. But I think with his big playability running the football, even when they're behind, it's not like they can't run the football anymore. They can still run the ball when they're down 14 or more because of those explosive plays that he can do. So good luck, NFL defenses.
Yeah, he's dynamic. You've played 10,363 consecutive snaps. That's unbelievable. You're an Iron Man by all accounts. The only thing that everybody says is going to stop Lamar Jackson is if he gets injured. How do you think he maintains his career without doing that? He's taken 130 less shots than Christian McCaffrey, who the entire Carolina Panthers team has been around. So he's taking less shots than players like that. But as a quarterback, he's taking more shots than anybody else. Do you think he can maintain this thing? Because that's the big question mark that everybody who puts on makeup and speaks in the camera says.
Yeah, I got a lot of makeup on, and I was really concerned that Lamar Jackson, he really concerned me, because quarterbacks that run the football, they just get beat up. Even if they don't have the big injury, what happens is over time you see it's the Cam Newton effect. It's all the little things, they add up. That's what happens in the NFL when you get older. When you're a pocket passer at quarterback, you just don't get hit as much, so you can play forever. But where I was wrong again was the great job that Greg Roman has done and the ability for the Ravens to horizontally stretch defenses. If you watch almost every play pre-snap, they've got a receiver running horizontally in motion with a jet sweep fake or an inside or an outside zone fake from across the formation. They've got Lamar Jackson going one way, and what it does is it creates a lot of space in the defense. You don't see this beehive-type defense where everybody's balled up and you get a lot of big hits. And Lamar is such a great athlete, and he's so fast and explosive that people aren't getting good direct hits on him. Because of that offense and how they spread everybody horizontally, now he's got space to work. And now everybody is so worried about his long speed and his quickness, they're breaking down and they're not taking those seek and destroy missile-type defensive hits that you see. And so when you watch him, he really doesn't take a lot of big hits. Yeah, he'll get hit, but it's almost kind of like when we used to watch Barry Sanders. Guys were just barely getting him down, or he was getting out in open space, and he was able to get down or get sort of a glancing blow from a defense. And I think until he gets some type of just weird, like ankle sprain and it slows him down a little bit, or just age. Once you get up into, your late 20s, maybe early 30s, he's going to be a little bit slower than he was right now. And I think that's the only thing that could slow him down and force him to be more of a passer. Thanks for cutting me off.
No, you didn't get played off there. You didn't get played off there. That was a technical malfunction. I'd like to let you know that. I was intrigued.
They're playing the music during my acceptance speech right now at the Grammys.
I know. I was intrigued to hear you talk, though, Joe, because the way you break things down is so damn good. There's a reason why you're the greatest offensive lineman to ever exist. You're also the first offensive lineman to ever exist. Shout out to one of the taglines. You do great on NFL Network. The world can watch you tomorrow night starting at 6 Eastern Standard Time. Joe Thomas, the Tomahawk Podcast. Incredible stuff. I thank you, man. Did he hang up? We played the music and he hung up. Oh, no.
Come on.
Did he hang?
Oh, he's still there.
Joe.
He's still on the line. Oh, now he's gone.
Joe.
Oh, no.
We got to get to a break. Put the music back on. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Yikes. It is 11:44 Wednesday, November 20th, 2019. 2019. 2019 was a wild time, I bet. Man, I bet you it was a wild time. What didn't they have then? Fire? They had fire then in 2019?
Who knows? Probably not.
Well, this week, Simply Safe is offering listeners of this show the best deal of the year. You'll get 25% off any new system plus a free HD security camera. You hear us all singing the praises of Simply Safe Home Security on the show every week. It's the best in home security, period. With Simply Safe, you'll get everything you need to keep your home safe. Entry sensors, motion sensors, a smart lock, video doorbells, security cameras, you name it, they got it. Plus, Simply Safe offers 24/7 professional monitoring with police dispatch that's 3.5 times faster. I know Simply Safe's founder, Chad. We met Chad.
Great guy.
Great guy.
I've known him for a while now, and Simply Safe is the home security I trust because of Chad. So if you've been waiting or on the fence about getting a security system, don't wait. Go to simplysafe.com/Pat to get 25% off your system. That's 1/4.
Wow.
You're only paying 3/4 of what you normally pay.
That's less than most people.
Yeah. Everybody else that doesn't listen to the show is getting paying a lot more than that. They're paying about a quarter more.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Go to simplysafe.com/Pat. Go to simplysafe.com/Pat to get 25% off your system plus a free security camera. This is the best deal you'll ever find on home security. Order now to get this exclusive offer, 25% off and a free security camera, HD style, at simplysafe.com/Pat. Simplysafe.com/Pat. Get a lot of people telling me that Christmas Vacation didn't get enough love by us earlier. I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's great. It is.
Oh,
but
glad
I mean,
It's a good
you know,
movie.
but it came out in like 1989.
Is that the one where they say the grumpy's full, the crapper's full?
Yep.
No, yeah.
I respect that quote. I kind of get it. I think to go on a trip, things happen, the pool happens, the pool scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of get it. I think I like it. I've never seen it, though, so I can't rank it in my top 3. I'm very unlike other people in this box truck that just put movies in their top 3 that they've never seen before.
What?
Diggs.
Me?
Yeah. I still don't believe that you've seen every movie that you ranked in there.
Yeah, you never.
What do you mean?
Well, you said you never seen Elf.
No, I haven't.
That's a lie.
I don't know why you would lie about that, but I think that indicates that other things have.
I don't watch the Muppets.
You think it's puppets?
Muppets.
Puppets.
Isn't Elf a Muppet?
Oh, jeez.
Like the Muppet Babies?
This is tough, Tone. Anyways, going back to the first hour. Number 1, Santa Claus. Number 2, Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Number 3, Home Alone. Bad Parents. Good storyline. Zito said while we were potentially being taken captive on a trip from the airport to our hotel, he said Jingle All the Way was better than Jim Carrey's The Grinch and better than the Santa Claus, which is mind-blowing to me. That's how we got on this subject. It's almost Christmas movie season. Everybody's excited. Now it's time for a segment that everybody loves. Ladies and gentlemen, Zito Facts. Zito, what do we got today?
Yes, sir. So I have 2 facts for you today. Is that all right with you?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I actually have a fan fact.
Whoa.
And my regular fact. So you guys could choose which one is mine or pick which one's mine.
So we have to figure out which one's yours and which one's the fans. Is that what you meant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go.
All right, first one right now. Pop it up, Fox. We have the longest running episodic live show from a box truck. Fact 2. You burn more calories sleeping than you do watching TV. Back to you, Pat.
Oh.
I mean, that's easy.
So the one that Snapple won is the second one, so that's from you.
Oh, come
And
on!
the one from the fan is obviously the one episodic.
Yeah,
Zito
I would
is
never
not-
use that word.
Yeah, exactly.
Bingo.
And by the way, I can't believe you spelled that right. Shout out to the fan that got involved in the Zito Fun Facts. I would assume Zito's going to run out of Snapple caps, so if we want to keep that going, he will need more of them in the future.
Can I give him a shout out?
Yeah.
At Fluffy RJ. Shout out.
All right, RJ, lose some weight, too. Let's have a good year.
Come on!
I'd like to put a hand up on me. You guys been talking about Elf for the last 2 hours? I thought you guys were talking about Alf.
Tony.
That's even more egregious
Tony,
if you're taking
put it up.
shots at Al.
Come on. Put Tony up.
Where are you?
Forgot about the whole movie Elf. Great movie.
Tony.
Toad.
Tony.
Hey, what a Pittsburgh accent, by the way. Oh, I seen Alf time.
Alf is a Muppet, I think.
He is a Muppet.
Will
Yeah, he's from
Ferrell did
space.
not deserve
Have
that.
Yeah,
you
that's-
seen Elf with
Yeah, many, many times.
That's why. Tony.
All right, Tone. Normally we do notable news with Nick. Nick is not here. He's back in Indianapolis. So notable news with Diggs. Is there anything that we missed today that we should have talked about now that we have about 5 minutes left?
Yes, Le'Veon Bell is not happy with the NFL.
Why not?
He tweeted out, I done had 5 random HGH blood tests in 10 weeks at NFL. I'm not doing another after today. Whatever y'all looking for, it obviously ain't there, and I'm not about to keep allowing y'all to stick me with those dirty ass needles. Find the players who really do that HGH BS and get off me.
Okay, so this is something that was instituted a few years back. Okay, they always tested randomly for performance-enhancing drugs. Your annual drug test was for street drugs, so the marijuanas, the ganjas, the things along of that nature. You get tested once a year. It's your annual test. It starts April 20th, hilarious, 420, all the way through the end of the first week of training camp. If you get tested on 420, you'll never get tested again until next year's annual test. If you get tested in the last week of training camp, you'll never get tested again until the next year of annual testing. That's for street drugs. The performance-enhancing drugs, though, they test all year round. They say it's random. I think I legitimately was the first person to come out swinging on the randomness of the drug test because I had a big year, a good year. I put a kickoff into the stands. I got drug tested the next day. I averaged like 50-some a punt. I got drug tested the next day. I attempted a 64-yard field goal, missed it wide left. I got drug tested the next day. So I started posting it because I had zero fear that I was going to fail any test, mostly because if I took my shirt off at any given moment, they wouldn't need my piss. They would take a look at it and go, this guy ain't on nothing. The legs of a Greek god, the upper body of an adolescent. That was my entire career. That's the way it goes. So when I was getting tested, I was upset about it. Then they added the HGH test because they had heard. You see, what had happened was they had heard that people were taking HGH. That became a big discussion because the human growth hormone is a level in your body, and nobody knew what the baseline of the HGH was going to be. So the NFLPA was like, well, let's assume that the HGH level or the human growth hormone level of professional athletes and NFL players is much higher than that of a standard civilian. So that was a give and take for a while. Because they were like, well, if we test for it and we don't know what the levels are, what are we comparing it to? Because whenever they test other things, they're checking it comparing to what a normalcy is. So if it's above that, obviously you're taking something. So that was a battle. Then I don't know if they ever figured it out. All I do know is that they continue to test for it. And I ain't never heard of anybody failing for HGH, ever. I don't even know if they know how to fail somebody for HGH. I just think that the NFL has to test for HGH because they've heard about it. The fact that Le'Veon Bell has been tested 5 times this year already, I did not know that because it's a smaller percentage than even the random PED tests that get tested for HGH because they got to bring a nurse in. They literally draw your blood. It's a whole entire process. And granted, some people are very scared of needles. Okay, whenever I give blood or whatever, I'm damn near passing out every time. To have to do that 5 weeks in a row can probably get a bit annoying. I would assume Le'Veon Bell's done with it. But also, I think if I'm Le'Veon Bell, I'm thinking these tests are a waste of time. Has anybody failed for this? No, you're only doing this to cover up so you could say you're testing for HGH. What are we doing? Because I don't even know if there's a base level that they can compare it to fail somebody. So it's almost a waste of time. I could see how Le'Veon Bell is upset with it.
I said the only way that you could get a base level for HGH is if you tested them randomly at the beginning of the season and it was at one level.
Yeah,
and
you would
then,
have to compare it to the same person because
Correct.
I think everybody has a different one. That's why some people are 7 foot tall. That's why some people are very short. That's why some people are wider. I think your human growth hormone is one that is different in every single body. That's where the problem lied whenever the NFL said we're going to start testing for this. The NFLPA was like, whoa, wait a minute. Mostly because I think a lot of people that were representing the NFLPA were potentially on it. But I think also from a scientific fashion, I think they said, hey, I would like to hear about whose level you're testing me against. Because if you're just comparing me to average old Zito versus Cliff Avrill's human growth hormone level, you would assume, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, there was quite a battle on what the level is for failure. And I might be wrong here, but I have not heard of anybody failing for HGH. I've not heard of it, and they've been doing it for years. And let's assume that somebody in there is doing it. By the way, I've heard it's the fountain of youth.
So they say.
Whenever we were in the locker rooms, whenever HGH became a topic of conversation, it was the first introduction for a lot of us into what HGH was. We're like, we're testing for what now? They're like, it's called HGH, human growth hormone. And I'm like, what does that do? And they're like, well, you don't want this stuff. Makes you recover faster. It makes you leaner. It makes you faster. It does all. But you don't want this stuff. It's like, who's taking that? They're like, we think a lot of older heads in the league are taking it. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, it's like the fountain of youth. I'm like, Well, as soon as I retire, I want to let you know I'm finding Mr. HGH, and I'm ingesting all that I can. Much harder to find from what I found out, by the way. But apparently they're not finding any in Le'Veon Bell either, and he's about done with it. But for me, seems like a bunch of BS to me. I don't know if they found any in anybody.
Well, and it's not really like a performance type deal, is it? Because it's not like he's going out there and having outrageous numbers. I mean, so it's not like they're like, oh, you're playing too well.
True.
We need to test this guy.
But it is definitely a performance. From what I've been told, HGH makes you recover faster. It makes you not get sore. It's like the fountain of youth is what people say.
Right.
So definitely performance.
Just not statistical.
Yeah, a lot of people assume that whenever people come back from injury a lot faster than what they're supposed to, it's this particular drug. I learned about it strictly off of whenever they announced it was being tested. I was like, wait a minute. It's like when the deer antler spray came out. I'm like, what does that do? Like, it does all this stuff. I'm like, damn, good for Ray Lewis finding a dead deer on the side of the road and inhaling the side of the antlers. Wednesday, November 20th, this wraps it up for us. We talked about Christmas. We talked about college football. We talked about the NFL. Oh, yeah, NFL ratings up, NBA ratings down. We talked about the NBA. We can't thank you enough for listening and watching. We hope your next show is better than ours. This has been the Pat McAfee Show from Atlanta, Georgia. Have we figured out a way to get Dawn's microphone live? That's good news, Dawn. I appreciate that. All right, I got to go interview the Georgia Tech coach, Jeff Collins. It's going to be longest day of my life. I do, but not enough, I don't think, yet. All right, Dawn, I'll see you.